Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited. We got a bonus podcast because we never stop. Hey, Brennan, for sure stop rubbing your eyes.
Well, no, I'm listening to this intro.
Sorry. Andy Stumpf is in-house. Now, if you looked at Andy, the first thing you'd go is, well, that guy's a straight-up cutie pie. He's got smooth, tight skin and very expressive doe eyes.
Nice set of hair.
Doe eyes. Well, he's got a mane. It's not even hair.
Right yeah, bro. I'm not
exactly.
mad at it
It's
at
a
all.
thick mane. He basically is a muscular Johnny Depp. All right?
100%.
Right? Now,
All-American.
Add to that, well, you can
warm-blooded American.
Warm-blooded American.
Warm-blooded American.
Might even be hot-blooded.
Full heart. Full dick.
Full heart, full dick, clear eyes. Here's the bottom line. The man spent, 17 years in a little group called the Navy SEALs. 4 of those years was in a group called Naval Special Warfare Development Group,
Jesus.
Otherwise known as DevGru, otherwise known to you civilians out there as SEAL Team 6.
You're welcome.
Takes a round to the hip. Goes into neutral, as he put it, becomes a BUDS instructor. Goes into neutral. Neutral. Takes that race car into neutral. Doesn't probably his hair probably didn't fucking. It just stayed exactly the way it is, and then goes into SEAL Team 3, I think it was.
Yeah.
I got a good memory, and medically retired in 2010. Now let me keep going because I'm not done.
Carry on.
The man knows exactly how an eagle feels. Exactly. What do I mean? Well, he likes to put on a squirrel suit and jump out of planes that are, I don't know, it looks like they're about 37,000 feet up in the air where it's negative 57 degrees. Or he just likes to base jump because he needs a little excitement after 17 years in the SEAL teams in a war zone, much of which was in a war zone, I believe.
Yep.
Especially when he was there.
Andy Stumpf.
2001 to 2006.
Yeah.
That's in the thick of it.
It's
correct?
in the thick of it, dude.
We call that the thick.
We call you and I, couple civilians, never did a day.
Couple 1-2.
Call it the thick. At least you're a cage fighter. I'm a fucking comic.
I mean, not really. I tell dick jokes now and
Yeah.
talk about pop culture.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Andy Stumpf. That's the end of the interview. Thank
That's
you so much
it.
for
Thank
joining
you,
us.
everyone.
Thank you for having me. I couldn't have said it better.
Well, actually, one of the reasons we wanted to have you on, and one of the things, as if you're not great enough, you are trying to raise $1 million for the Navy SEAL Foundation with this GoFundMe thing.
Yep.
Through your insanity, your squirrel jumping insanity, and you're going for various records.
Yep.
We saw a video.
Insane.
I can't talk about it because you guys, he's not releasing it yet. It's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I would never do that.
It's the craziest shit I've ever
I
seen.
would
If someone
never
offered-
go into a
basically-
cage
if
and
someone-
fight somebody.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if someone offered me $1 million, I wouldn't jump out of that plane.
I think if they had $1 million in a briefcase, you'd probably reconsider.
I don't think so, man. I'm
I
terrified
would,
of
and
heights.
I would, and
I'm
I've done it.
terrified of heights too.
No.
So what do
This
you
is
do
why
with
you're
that?
tougher than me, my man.
I am not a fan of heights.
You're not?
I'm not a fan of heights. It's
What?
yeah.
So you came up with this crazy idea to jump out of a plane in a squirrel suit
Well,
a million miles
he was
above the air?
He was in SEAL Team 6, I think.
But he's scared of heights
I
in
know.
SEAL Team 6.
Well, in SEAL Teams, you jump out of planes a lot, don't you?
That's kind of where I started. Skydiving is a piece of cake because you're so high up. Like you look outside and you're like, it's like an abstract map.
Yeah.
Base jumping though, I will say is the other side of that coin because a lot of the times you can spit to check the wind and just watch where it impacts and imagine yourself impacting that point in a few moments.
So base jumping
it's
is
a little
like jumping
different.
off bridges, buildings.
What's it stand for? Building, antenna, span, and earth. So
And that's-
fixed object
And
jumping.
that's illegal, correct?
The
Depending where you jump.
The active base jumping is not illegal. Most of the times they'll get you with trespassing and reckless endangerment. So if you want to do it legally in the U.S., you go to Twin Falls, Idaho, and jump off the bridge. Legal 365 days a year. And I just got back from a month in Europe in June, traveling all over the place, where over there they welcome you as an athlete, and we would just go session cliffs all day long.
Wow.
You'd session cliffs.
Yeah.
Dude, guess who's stealing that fucking line? What are you doing in Europe? I might session some cliffs.
Session cliffs,
My
you know.
squirrel suit's been acting up, though. I got to get a new one.
Now it's a whole squad. So it's you and a whole team when you're base jumping?
Really, it was in Europe. It was just me and the guy who brought me into base jumping, a guy named Miles Dasher. He has more base jumps than anybody on the planet. He's sitting at right about 4,000 right now, which in a sport that I would say it's a dangerous activity that you can do safely.
Well,
doesn't
you
doesn't
say
mean that it's safe.
I was going to say, you say in your GoFundMe video, you basically say that it's a sport where you're going to see people get hurt
Yep.
eventually and die.
No, is there
And that
get
applies-
hurt or it's just die?
You kind of die.
You just die.
So skydiving and base jumping, skydiving is safer because you have more options and you have more altitude. You have a reserve parachute. It's a really safe sport that has incredibly steep consequences when you get complacent. Base jumping is a very dangerous activity that is in the same boat. It has extremely steep consequences. And you got to make sure you're in it for the right reason. Like if you're in it to make YouTube videos, you're probably going to end up hurting yourself.
Then I probably shouldn't do it. The only reason I'm going to do it is for the gram. I'm only
Well,
gonna do it for
you're trying to
Instagram.
raise $1 million.
I'm trying to raise $1
Right
million
now,
bucks.
tell me where do you guys do something for people, man? It doesn't matter how much.
Especially good people. Especially people who protected your
Yeah,
ass.
yeah, yeah. So where do they go? Give me the.
Well, you want me to explain? I'm going to give you like the
Yes.
2-minute pitch.
Yes.
All right, so here it
Yes.
is. You know, like you guys said, I served in the military for the greater part of my adult life. And, you know, other than my parents, the SEAL teams really did help shape me into the person that I am today. I mean, I had some amazing – I went in when I was young. So,
17.
Yeah, I was in the Navy when I was 17, got to my first SEAL team right at my 19th birthday because you got to do the training leading up to it. So, you know, kind of the formative years in a young man's life.
One
So
of the youngest guys to go through SEAL Team 6.
I was
too,
collecting
Yeah.
Legos at 19.
Yeah.
You're fucking
I'm still collecting
Navy
Legos.
SEAL.
I'm 37.
I
It's
know,
fine.
but you're
they're for
killing
my
people, too.
kids.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, so spent the formative years of my life surrounded by an amazing group of people that really did help shape me to the person that I am. And I did a lot of what I would consider to be good things. You know, I did what the country needed us to do. I did what was asked of me, and I got out of the military, and I thought that I would be satisfied, and I'd kind of just be able to sit back and be proud of what I did and just move on.
No way.
Well, I mean, it's tough from a guy who's done it for that long to sit back and just watch the news. And, I mean, the best description I can give you is that it seems to me, and this is just speaking for me, that, you know, the work that we put in and the blood, sweat, and tears that was shed over in those countries and around the world, you know, is largely eroding away like the tide going out in the ocean. You know, it's a millimeter at a time that turns into an inch that turns into
Damn
feet.
right.
And from somebody who used to go over there and actually be able to physically do at least your part or have a foot on the line and, you know, a cog in the wheel, to sit back and not be able to do anything anymore drives me absolutely nuts. And I'm not, just because I got out of the military doesn't mean I'm not willing to fight for this country.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have that moral obligation for the remainder of my life. So I was sitting around, you know, I'm like, what the hell can I do? And I got partnered up with a company called Killcliff, who was founded by 2 ex-SEALs. One of them was at development group with me at the same time. And they have a commitment to the Navy SEAL Foundation. Every year they have a commitment to give them $250,000. So I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? Somebody pitched to me this idea of going and trying to break some high-altitude wingsuit records. I'm like, how about this? How about if Killcliff will pay for the cost of the jumps? We'll turn the whole thing into a fundraiser, and we'll just try to blow this thing out and raise as much money as humanly possible for the SEAL Foundation. Got in touch with the SEAL Foundation people. They were all about it. I started asking them specific dollar amounts. And then right around the $1 million amount, you know, they have a variety of programs. And if people want to check out what they have available, go to NavySealFoundation.org. It's insane, the stuff that they do. But at the $1 million mark, we're getting to the point where I could fund the Survivor Benefit Program for 2016. So I could take one of the tranches of what they do, and just through doing something that I like to do, I enjoy the challenge, and it's fulfilling for me. Kind of pin this whole thing in the ground, so people look at that and they're like, oh my God, that's something cool. But then push all of that exposure off to what I'm really trying to do, which is still give back to the guys who, I mean, right now there's dudes with their toes on the line somewhere. You know, if you want to talk about development group, there's guys who are on their 1-hour pager cycle, constantly rotating through. There's 4 deployed
What does that
SEALs.
mean? What is that, a 1-hour pager cycle?
You rotate through, and, you know, you're the alert squadron. So, you know, there's multiple maneuver element squadrons over there, and they rotate through on a systematic timeline for, you know, national mission crisis response stuff.
Right.
So there's guys
Right now?
Yeah, all the time.
Wow.
Well, you know,
24/7.
Andy, one of the things that I was talking about the other day was that we have 170, there's a new Harvard study that came out, we have 170,000 veterans, men and women, who are 70% or more disabled.
Yep.
And those are people that live with pain and suffering and other things every single day, and sometimes indignities. And I found myself getting so angry because we went into these wars. I'm not going to get into the politics of it because I didn't know where I stood on things. But we went into these countries, and all I know is that we haven't, in many ways, left behind what we set out to do. And that is
can't.
You can't. And part of it is, hey, listen, the next time you get into a war, please study the history of that country, or maybe be more careful, or maybe people who are making those choices should have some skin in the game, which they didn't. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into that. But the bottom line is this is a problem, and there are people that really do need help, man. And that was one of the things
PTSD,
that
Cal?
dude, not just that, missing limbs and and all kinds of things, brain trauma that you can't see, but that they live with every
traumatic
day.
Brain injury.
Yes, all kinds of stuff. But think about that for a second. It's 170,000, and they're 70% or more disabled. I mean, so tying their shoes or doing all those things are almost impossible. And I always say, for me, the only way I can deal with some things is I lose sleep over that stuff, and I like to. I think it's important to lose sleep in your life for other people, and I think that's why you should be aware. But more importantly, you should be aware so you can try to do your part in avoiding that situation in the future. However, I guess I wanted to say that raising $1 million for the foundation, it couldn't be more important right now, because people forget how many people out there need help.
Because I'm sure you have a lot of friends.
Well, you lost your best friend, right?
Well, so, on the GoFundMe page, and so people can find this before I forget, this is pinned to the ground via GoFundMe page. And there's a couple ways you can get to it. If you just go to GoFundMe and there's the search bar, you can put in Man on a Mission, and it's like the second one that shows up.
Gotcha.
If you want to go specifically there, so again, the charity is the Navy SEAL Foundation, so if you abbreviate that, NSF, GoFundMe.com/NSF, Man on a Mission.
We'll post all this too. Our fans will get all this. Yeah.
For sure. So it's all. I mean, it's all pinned right there. And so Jason, the guy who's in the video, when I was presented with the opportunity to do this, I wanted to do it. I want it to come from. I mean, it's me talking about things that are real to me. So Jason was my best friend. We went through BUDS together. First 2 SEAL platoons we did together. He got married right around the same time I did. He's got 3 kids just like I have, all about the same ages. So it's kind of pinned around a little bit my story with him. And, I mean, he was the first death that hit super, super close to home. I mean, I still remember where I was when I got the phone call. And then that was just kind of the beginning. I mean, it opened the floodgate. So, the Extortion 17 helicopter that went down with all the development group guys, that was my old squadron. So I knew every single one of those guys on that helicopter.
Wow.
One of the guys was in my BUDS class. I mean, it's a full contact lifestyle.
It's what you guys do.
It's part of the.
Did you expect this when you signed up for the military and the Navy SEALs? Did you expect it was going to be this tough?
So,
I think physically.
I mean, you expect it's going to be this tough, but like I didn't have a whole lot of information about what being a SEAL was back in like '94 when I was in high school.
But you said as a kid you wanted to be a Navy SEAL, right? So was it a movie?
It was my dad more than anything. He was a Vietnam vet. He was in the first squadron of patrol boats to be in Vietnam. And I remember the day he had a masonry company in Santa Cruz where I was born. And we were driving. I would work in the summertime with him. And we were driving back, and he would very infrequently talk about Vietnam. But I've always loved the water ever since I was a kid. I did junior lifeguards, played water polo when I was in high school. And I just remember him talking about some of this stuff on the patrol boats, and they would work a lot with the UDT guys or the SEAL guys in Vietnam. And it just sparked an interest with me. And I can't articulate why I did that, but I mean, I remember the car ride home, and it just, from that day forward, it was like, I couldn't get enough information. I was reading all the books I could get. The only documentary out at that time was a little movie called Navy SEAL starring Charlie Sheen.
Yep. Yeah.
Dude, so Charlie Sheen was your inspiration.
/ Michael Bain.
Well, when I think of Charlie Sheen and Michael Bain, I think fucking.
I don't think Navy SEALs.
Michael's my boy, actually. He's a friend, but Charlie
Either
Sheen,
way, I don't think Navy SEALs.
Charlie Sheen, at least Michael Bain is somewhat athletic. Charlie Sheen is not who I think. When I look at him, I don't think Navy SEAL. You know what I mean?
Neither one of them. I'm going to fuck how athletic.
Has been like a Navy SEAL in like 5 movies. In the Abyss, like he's basically honorary at this point.
Charlie,
but like it's like I couldn't. I mean, so that's what I had going in, and it was peacetime. After Vietnam, there was a little bit of kinetic stuff that happened here or there, onesies or twosies, but I mean, it was a different world. So I go in peacetime, and my first 2 platoons were pre 9/11, and it was awesome. I mean, it was the fraternity of fraternities. We were just like, what do you guys want to do today? Let's go to the range and then blow stuff up, and then we'll go jump. I'm like, well, I kind of wanted to jump and then blow stuff up and then go to the range, and then I would like to go get shit-faced.
Yeah.
Like, perfect.
Fucking
Let's do that.
dude.
Awesome. Just a bunch of guy
Oh,
shit.
God.
We worked out all day long. We trained hard with all these toys, talked about how badass we were and how we were just going to fuck people up if things ever became for real. And we would deploy overseas for 6 months at a time, an 18-month workup, 6-month peacetime deployment. And, my first deployment was to Kadena, Japan.
Wow.
And we worked out all day. And we drank almost every night, and we traveled around and trained, other military units. It was, that's largely what we did pre 9/11. And then, 9/11 happens. It goes from, theoretical, hypothetical to, it gets for real really fast.
Yeah.
And a lot of things about the community shifted after 9/11. I would say the post-day SEAL teams are not likely recognizable to guys who were in before.
I'm sure.
Wow.
I'm
So
sure.
once 9/11 happened, you guys, shit got serious.
It got serious, and it changed a lot of things because as badass as we thought we were behind the power curve on a lot of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. it's...
Is that what were the things that you didn't expect about warfare? Because, I would imagine DevGru is so up close and personal.
It can be. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. The thing with this about being a SEAL is that they ask of you to have a core competency in many different areas. So, one of the things that I've always loved was the long-range shooting. I went through sniper school in 2000, and I love that aspect. So not always up close and personal. Some guys like breaching. Some guys like the room clearance stuff and all that stuff. So there's a variety of things. The biggest thing probably for me was like, all the training that we had done leading up to that stuff, it's just, you brief an evolution and you go execute the evolution. It's going to go like this. We're going to do this, 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 and this. And then you go overseas, and instead of it being a very myopic approach, you step off the helicopter, you get out of the vehicle, and you're just doing it live. So all of the practice and stuff that you did, hoping it was going to be one way, is completely out the window.
Yeah, we have a phrase in fighting, everyone has a plan till they get hit in the face.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. You have a plan, but when you hit there, it's chaos. See ya.
Yeah.
It literally, I've been fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you look at the people who do or did what I did, that I got to be in the mix of it for a good amount of time. And I have never once had an objective go down the way we planned it.
Of course. How
That's
can
so
you?
amazing.
How can you?
Not a single, but
Not
that's
once.
but that is what to me makes the special operations community different.
I agree.
You
we're
can improvise on the spot.
Well, from the beginning, the training is really difficult, right? So that's just kind of to weed out the mental the toughness, the mental fortitude. And they're kind of looking for a raw product of a guy that, it's a dull blade, and then the rest of the career you're just taking a whetstone across it and keeping it sharper and sharper and sharper. It's more about non-linear problem solving than the sexy toys we get to play with. Because I could put a monkey in my gear, and he might do the exact same thing that I did in any one given scenario. It's what happens when you put him in a scenario that requires a split-second thought process with your buddies, doing other stuff dynamically in an environment that's three-dimensional. Like that's the stuff that I think separates the special operations guys on that side of the house. It's that ability to do those complex problem-solving skills in a very compressed timeline and in a very kinetic and dangerous.
I feel like
adapt.
it's also I feel like a lot of warfare also is soft power, like understanding the culture. Like I spoke to the guy who wrote the counterinsurgency manual. Can't remember his name now, but he said
Petraeus?
no. He wrote it on Petraeus' desk.
McChrystal?
No, but
God damn it, man! Spit it out.
I know, man. I'll remember it. He's awesome. He's awesome. But he said that one of the things they found was in Iraq, for example, when you breach a door, you come in a room, you take a guy down, handcuff him, put your boot on his head. In Iraqi culture, you do that to a man in front of his children and his wife. You just created a blood debt. You just fucked yourself right there, because what you did is created an enemy. You might be searching his house. If it's the wrong house and you don't deal with the aftermath of that in a proper, honorable way, you just created another fucking insurgent. And
you're not going to be the one who suffers from it, because
No.
we would be in and out. It's the people who own that battle space. It's the people who sit around there and patrol that battle space for days and weeks and months. They're the ones who get it taken out of.
Yes.
Yikes.
Afghanistan's the same way. The biggest affront to an adult male in Afghanistan is to enter their house at nighttime.
That's right.
Which
Really?
is our sweet spot for work.
Yes.
Yeah, it's there. It's a different. Well, it'd be probably the biggest affront to you too if some dude came in and kicked in your door at night.
And what are you going to do? You're
Chilling
going
in
to
my
reach for a gun because
Yeah.
you think it might be a robber, but the minute you reach for a gun, that guy's usually done. And now you're dealing with that aftermath. You know, McChrystal was really talked a lot about that. He said, we're not dropping bombs on, you know, if somebody walks in with a long rifle, we're not going to drop a 1,000-pound bomb on that fucking house because we're going to kill a bunch of other people. He got really precise about the way it was. And I thought that was really interesting because there's I've met a number of you guys who are at the tip of the spear, and a lot of you guys are very, very personable guys. Like, you really have a lot of human intelligence, I feel, like social intelligence.
Super friendly.
Yes, and I think that, but part of that's
referring
being a
to
good
others
teammate.
at this point, right?
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Yeah, not you. I'm terrified.
Exactly. But
You're an asshole.
part of that's being a good teammate. Part of that's being in a team environment, but it feels like you have to know that aspect of warfare as well, right? Isn't that important?
It's it's important if you want to accomplish what you're over there to do. It's so easy to go carry around a stick and try to beat people into submission. I mean, look at Genghis Khan, right? That's basically what he did.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but for us to try to do what we were trying to do, and this is where it kind of gets to the point where it becomes difficult because, you know, you want to win the hearts and minds, right? That's the counterinsurgency strategy.
Do they tell you that?
They don't necessarily tell us that, but you can tell. I understand the theater strategy. You know, there's different levels of war, from strategic to operational to tactical. You know, and the longer you're in, the more you understand how the ladder goes up and down between the different tiers. You know, so the overall, I mean, we're there to support the battle space commander, and we're there to support the objectives that our country has over there, and you know, we're trying to impose a safe regime, right? We're trying to pull out, you know, a cancer and put in a, you know, penicillin, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand the second and third order effects of what it is that you're doing. And I think the going to development group was a really good initial understanding of that for me, because largely the objectives that we were go after were not the low-hanging fruit. We were going after the facilitators, the movers,
the high value.
Yeah, we were going after the high value guys, and you know, but just because you're doing that doesn't mean you can go, like you said, drop a JDAM on a block because a guy's walking around with a pistol. You know, you have to understand the second and third order effects of what you're doing, because you could go and have a successful raid and get an HVT, but if you drop
high value target,
if you drop every structure within a 1 block radius, you know, and kill 15 families in doing so, and some of their kids survive, well, I mean, what do you think those kids are going to end up doing?
They're going to hate you.
Exactly.
Guys.
So it's interesting because to a degree it puts a set of gloves on you, because we're trying to fight a civilized war, and from my own personal experience, they are not. You know, and which is exactly what you have to do if you're fighting a organized military that has more horsepower and firepower and manpower than you do. It's the only way to do it.
Really?
So I understand.
So you've got to be
We call that
ruthless.
the wild card.
Well, I mean, if you're an insurgent and you're going up against guys that have tanks, you can't stand out in the street and shoot at them.
Yeah.
You got to take pot shots. You got to take, you got to bleed them to death with 1,000 paper cuts. I totally get why they fight that way. I would fight the same way if I was in that role. But it's tough to be on the other side of that coin, because they do things like shoot and then run into a group of women. They'll shoot and then run into a group of kids. They'll give kids ammo boxes and say, hey, we need you to take this over there.
Yeah.
So it's an extremely difficult place to be, which is where the maturity and the problem-solving skills that are, you know, kind of, you know, they look and they select for that stuff in the training, and then they refine that throughout your career. That's why those units, to me, have a better role in doing a lot of that stuff, because they have that increased maturity and that ability to make those decisions.
You've had all these tours. I'm sure you've seen some pretty terrible stuff. You seem pretty normal.
I'm
pretty,
the most
fairly
normal person I know. A lot of other people have problems, but I don't have a single one.
You have zero
as far as I can tell.
PTSD.
That would be an interesting question to ask my wife. Let me just put it to you like that. So, you know, when I got
I mean,
you seem like you could hang out with us.
Well, I knew that right away. The minute I met him, I went. But that's the same thing with Tim Kennedy. That's the same with a lot of these guys, because their psychological profile, to go through that training, first of all, there's a specific psychological profile. You're pretty stable psychologically to begin with.
I'm sure, but
Second
you
of all-
can't say all of them.
But
right?
our job is different too, right? So PTSD is a very interesting thing. So when I got medically retired, I had to go, and I mean, like, to talk about a thorough medical workup would be an understatement. So yeah, they diagnosed me with PTSD, because they'll ask you questions about, like, you know, do you ever dream about killing people? I'm like, yeah, every day that ends in Y.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you might have some PTSD, my man.
But well,
No, but not if that's been your
I don't
job
act
for so
on it
long.
though. I don't
Yeah.
act on it. I mean, I'm not. They're like, you know, the classic question is, do you get angry at people when they cut you off in traffic? I'm like, of course I do,
Yeah,
but I
you-
don't pull out in front of them, pull them out of their car, and monkey stomp their head.
I'm
you
a
know what I mean?
goddamn American.
Monkey stomp.
we
their
all
head.
hate that.
I mean, you're holding a gun right now in your hand, but other than that,
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
But you know, so PTSD is interesting, and most people make the comment that, you know, guys in the special operations field generally seem to have less symptoms of PTSD. And I think there's a couple of specific reasons for that. And one, I think PTSD, and this is me personally talking again, is totally misunderstood.
Sure.
So it's not a disorder, right? It should just be post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
If you throw disorder on there, it makes people not want to talk about it.
Right.
And I had this argument with
because it sounds like it's that kind of conveys the notion.
Sounds like you're sick.
Yeah, and also you're not going to get better.
There's a negative connotation
it sounds like a
to
chronic
it.
No, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Continue.
So there's a negative connotation to it, and most people don't want to talk about a lot of this stuff anyway. And I would argue with these psychologists when they were doing their workup on me, and they would. I mean, first off, I love arguing with educated people who have no fucking understanding of what it is I actually used to do, telling me how I should
real
be.
life understanding,
no idea,
theoretical.
Oh, you shouldn't feel that way. Well, I think you should go fuck yourself.
Yeah, how many tours did you do?
Yeah, 0 for those guys.
0.
So
let's beat them up.
You know,
hey man,
if your body gets a cold, right, having a fever is a normal reaction. Okay, so for the majority of guys in the military, the story arc of my career in the military was vastly different than 99.9% of the people in the military. The training that I did was hyper realistic. We used, you know, human-shaped targets, 3-dimensional human-shaped targets when we could. We do force-on-force training with, you know, wax bullets that hurt like a son of a bitch.
It's like stress inoculation, they call it, right?
Yeah,
like
we do a ton of live tissue training. We'll injure animals under the proper, I mean, it's crazy the rules you have to go through, but under the proper care of the veterinarians, and you're doing, you know, you'll go into a room and you'll engage targets, and then they'll introduce an arterial bleed on an animal on the ground. You got to dive in and switch gears from, you know, your teeth are out to you got to put some gloves on and go to work. You know, so
to heal the animal, to stitch the animal.
Yeah, because we're basically practicing on ourselves. We use animals that have the same, you know,
anatomy.
What kind of animals we talking here?
You know,
you don't have to say.
There's like a shaved chimp on the ground.
like retired MMA fighters. It's
yes,
yeah. No, like pigs and goats.
Is that Brendan Schaub?
Pigs and goats.
Pigs and goats, because they're anatomically, you know, pretty close. So,
by the way, I eat the shit out of goats and pigs.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, they're euthanized afterwards. They're taking because, you know, you're injecting medicine into them. They're not even aware of what's going on. You know, they're specifically for this purpose. But you know,
you're saving lives. You're practicing saving.
We are practicing saving lives. And then there's one huge difference in why I think
shaved chimp.
Yeah, why I think guys from our community suffer less of the issues of post-traumatic stress is when I go overseas and I get on a helicopter or I get in a vehicle, I am going expecting to encounter violence, right? So the psychologists that I would argue with, I think the term was the locus of control. I am in control of when the violence is imparted. Like if I come to your house, I'm probably, to be honest, looking for a reason not to shoot you as opposed to a reason to shoot you. So take all that training with the fact that I generally, for the majority of the time, was able to determine when and when I would not encounter violence. Your average military guy who joins because they wanted the educational benefits of the GI Bill and doesn't have the training that I have, and I saw this in my last tour in Afghanistan, these guys were going up Route 1, which is just the main corridor in Afghanistan, and they're just getting vaporized in these vehicles with like 2,000-pound explosive, you know, homemade explosive bombs.
Jesus.
They're sitting in the back with absolutely no control. And I can't even imagine how bad that would rattle your ears. And for those guys to come back and to have issues with that, it's not a disorder.
It's normal.
It's not a.
It's normal.
And that's my point. So if you got sick and your body didn't get a fever, that's a disorder. Coming in and dealing with that stuff with, I'm not going to say it's subpar training, but training that was different than the training that I got, and having issues on the tail end of that is normal. They got to remove the disorder portion of that, or it's always going to carry that negative stereotype, and people just aren't going to want to talk about it.
So fucking true, man. And that makes a lot of sense too. At least you have some control in special operations.
We had almost all control. I mean, maybe it'd be times in places where they'd get the jump on us, but a lot of the time it was very targeted and very focused. I knew what house I was going to. I knew who I was looking for. I would pick the time.
You weren't surprised, yeah.
No, I mean, you would be maybe surprised on what was on the other side of the door.
Sure, but
like,
you
whoa,
were expecting
Yahtzee.
trouble. Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I mean, to totally not sugarcoat it, like when you get on the helicopter, like your teeth are out, you know? Like I have sharp teeth in my mouth because I eat fucking meat, you know? And that's what I was going over there to do.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are straight up top predators.
I feel like, especially now.
So, by the way, it's so badass. I fucking part of me dies a little bit today. I've never been.
I wish
through-
we were Navy SEALs.
yeah.
so
well, you
bad.
at least you were a fucking high,
Ah, it's
high
nowhere
level cage
near.
fighter.
It's nowhere. You always compare this.
Yeah, you're
It's
fucking-
nowhere
you're-
fucking near.
You're a fighter, and you
No,
fight
it's
very
nowhere
big, scary.
near.
I know that. I'm just saying that's life and death. When you talk about getting ready for violence, you're actually talking about life and death.
You're talking about
stakes.
defending people. I just want to get famous and make money. That's it.
and punch people
It's
in the face.
completely different.
I agree. It is.
In hindsight, I might have wanted to take that route too. You never know.
Yeah.
So
No, you don't. No, you don't. Talk about PTSD. Anyways,
Yeah.
head trauma.
I feel like now, bear with me here. I feel like being a Navy SEAL is like the cool thing to do, right? Like there's so much media out there with Navy SEALs and Zero Dark 30 and American Sniper. Like like granted he was a Navy SEAL, but I watched Zero Dark 30 and I was like, damn, I want to be a Navy SEAL.
No easy
And then
day,
there's
huh?
then there's guys writing books now.
Yeah.
You have all this like media attention, and that's not what you guys stand for, really. Like you guys should be silent assassins,
it's.
right?
I mean, it's tough, especially like my wife. I was on iTunes. She's like, "Oh, I got the movie American Sniper." I'm like, "Perfect. How do I delete that from our iTunes account?"
Ooh, I love that movie.
But here's
my
the
man.
deal, like,
send it my way.
and it's not that I don't like the movie. Like, I can't watch it, because movies they don't even approximate the reality. And the thing that I hate most about the movies is that, and I don't know if this is a function of Hollywood and it's just the way things are made, because I'm sure they're trying to appeal to the broadest audience possible.
They have to, right, to make money.
They glamorize a lot of it, and it's just not real. Like I can't watch. I have a hard time watching it, even from a technical aspect, because I catch everything. Like his slide was locked to the rear. There's no way his gun could have used. He put his magazine in, but like I catch all that shit. So it ruins the movies for me.
I get
when
it.
I see a guy
That's
shoot
so
a pistol
funny.
I get it.
with the slide locked to the rear and there's a bang coming out, I'm just like, turn it off. I
I agree.
watch the Kardashians.
It's like fighting
Oh my
movies
God.
for me. It's like fighting movies for
Totally.
me. I'll watch them like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Or they throw a grenade and a fireball goes off like a Chevron truck. Just
Well, that
detonated.
doesn't happen.
No, it goes pop.
Wait. What happens? So when
When
you
you throw a grenade, there's
Yeah,
no.
so in Hollywood, there's this
there's
big
not?
flame. No, there's this big flame. Like I think they got a detonation charge under like a 55-gallon drum of gasoline for the movies.
Yeah, I love that
you
shit.
throw it and it goes pop. Like it kicks up dust.
Really?
There's no.
What's the kill radius of a grenade that you carry?
I think the kill radius of a normal grenade, I think, would be 10 meters.
10 meters.
But here's the deal. That is calculated off it landing straight up and down. So if it lands on its side, it drastically reduces the effectiveness, and it just shoots out frag. A lot of the times, grenades are probably far less effective than you would think. I know we're totally getting off topic
No,
here.
no.
That's what we do.
I love
That's what
this
he
shit.
does.
I love
Well,
this
hey,
shit.
so take back
Yeah.
all those grenades that you bought because
Yeah.
that's important.
It's important.
So,
I gotta
but
It's
return
not
my
a fireball.
grenades.
so like
so
Zero Dark 30, you
Yeah.
watch that and to you it's just funny. Like it's nowhere near being real.
It's not
Does
fun.
it bother you that the Navy SEALs are getting this much attention now?
It does. It really does. I generally am extremely hesitant to talk, especially to people that I don't know. I mean, coming here on this show and actually talking about my background is extremely odd for the people that would know me. Like they'll
Really?
probably
You
be
seem super comfortable.
well. I mean, I can run my mouth like nobody's
Yeah.
business, right?
Yeah,
So,
no shit.
Well, you're here for a reason.
That's
Yeah,
it,
you're
and
here
that's
for
the
a
thing.
reason.
Like,
You're here to
yeah.
raise $1 million for the Navy
Yeah, you're
SEAL
not here to
Foundation.
glorify Navy
Give us
SEAls.
so it's a GoFundMe. Give me the.
Well, we're gonna post all
yeah.
that, but
Yeah. GoFundMe.com, man,
yep,
man
and
on a
we'll
mission.
post all that.
Yeah.
And we'll at the end we'll do reads for it for you. But
We're gonna give you $1 million.
yeah, right, yeah.
Perfect.
So you'll have
Is
it
it
right
Job-
away.
Your job is done here, sir.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah.
Um,
Bitcoin.
I wish. You know what? The raising the $1 million will be exponentially more difficult than the jump. The jump will be
Oh, for
piece
sure.
of cake.
Yeah, the $1 million
It's
is
it's
gonna be a
the
beast.
trying to actually drive awareness and get people to, because I think it's easy to get people to see it, or maybe it won't be. I don't know, but it's the getting them to see it and then do something
And
with it.
donate.
That's the tough part.
Yeah.
But I feel like now, like this is the pros and cons of Hollywood jumping on board and polarizing the Navy SEAls and get them out there. Now people are they're more aware of it,
Yep.
and everyone thinks you guys are badass. Everyone wants to be associated with you guys.
Yeah.
So I think people are going to jump behind you guys and donate more money now.
I mean,
That's the plus side.
I hope
the
so.
downside is
Yeah.
every fucking guy I meet, I got to be honest, goes, "Oh, I'm a Navy SEAL."
Go for it.
That's what we get it all like.
Yeah, but then
we
you
meet
then
guys.
you dig a little bit,
Yeah,
and
but
you're
see,
like,
here's the thing, though.
you're not a Navy
I'd
SEAL.
fuck you up in like 5 minutes. So what was your buds class?
No, not
So
yeah,
you're
yeah.
done.
I'm with
You're
you.
done.
Yeah,
You're
well, because you're a Navy SEAL, bro. Bro, I get the same thing with fighting.
There are a lot of guys-
Oh,
I
my brother's a fighter. Really? Where's he fight at?
Yeah.
Oh, up the street. Well, that's not the UFC.
Yeah. Well, also like a lot of guys will say they're dev group.
Yeah.
And what they really mean is that they were embedded in the group.
Oh, yeah,
and
they were support squad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you'd be like, really, what squad are you at? And they're like, ooh, squadron. I'm like, yeah, you need to leave. immediately.
Does that just drive you nuts? You know, there's a website dedicated to guys.
I know, man.
Do you know this? There's
Shipley? Don Shipley?
Yes.
He's the best.
There's a
dedicated for
website
what?
dedicated because there's guys.
He does like
that
a
are
fake
in
seal of the
uniform.
week. He crushes people.
They're in uniform. They go up with camera and go, oh, yeah? What crew are you with?
Or he'll call
What
him on
tour
the
were you
phone.
with?
He films it all from his computer, him and
Yeah.
his wife. There's
What, guys who are pretending to be
Yeah.
SEALs?
No,
Yeah.
pretend to be military, anything. They
Yeah.
have the whole get up, boots, and they're walking so they get whatever discounts or they get money. And
That's
guys are-
embarrassing.
vets and
super
guys,
common. I mean, the same thing with he's saying, it's anything that people see that they could leverage to their benefit, they're going to go after. You know what I mean? It's the same thing as a guy who probably does stunts on a movie. He's like, oh yeah, I starred in that. You know what I mean? Everybody,
Yeah.
it's
Exaggerate
the
a
natural reaction to try to make it something more than it is. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, on the SEAL thing though, it's super easy to bust people. You know, I have actually not encountered that many. I have just horror stories from my friends who are like in bars. And there's just a dude drinking with a trident tattoo on his forearm.
Oh.
But wearing like a set of ER scrubs. This is one of my favorite stories. I'm like, whoa. Where were you? And they're like, oh yeah, we're in Dallas at a bar. Surprisingly enough, that we would be at a location like that because we probably had just left church, right? That's the only reason we were in the bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're sitting there and it's just like, the guy's like, yeah, I'm a SEAL. I'm like, cool, what team you with? Standard answer, 6. Like, okay.
Yeah.
What buzz class were you? Oh, 214 Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta. And you're like, come again? You know what I mean? And it's just the
Did he
layers.
know
the
you
worst.
guys were?
No, because the best thing you do is you play like you're not. You're like, oh man, I've always wanted to be a SEAL. Can you tell me more about it?
Dude, I watched a video of a guy doing the
so
same
awesome.
thing. I watched a video of a guy doing the same thing, and these SEALs actually whooped his ass outside.
That's generally how it terminates.
Whooped his
Yeah.
ass. But he wouldn't give it up.
Yeah, that's
He's like, Delta Crew 7! Oh!
I gotta
would not
see
give it
this
up. I'll
shit.
show you the video.
I gotta see
That's
this.
generally how it ends up. And like, so yeah,
It's so
Like, he
funny.
had 6 SEAL Team 6 guys. Like, but you can usually kind
you
of
can
tell.
tell.
No, not really.
You got a bunch of really
Not
athletic-looking
civilians.
dudes. You're
my
like,
wife
oh,
can
fuck
point
it.
out a SEAL from like 200 yards. She swears
Because
that we
she's
all
married to
look
a
the same.
fucking SEAL.
Correct, but I'm just saying. I think once you get used to, there's a lot of similarities from the guys.
Yeah.
You know, stature. You know, like general height. Most guys are between like 5'10" to 6 feet. You know, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of similarities.
Shoulders for days.
Yeah, I mean,
Shoulders for days.
We're uncommonly common except for the chiseled features. And
I was
rugged
gonna
hand
say.
you know,
And
so-
giant
Eyes you get lost in. God, why don't you just
man.
model your skin? Andy Bamf.
We had a guy in college. He was at a bar picking up chicks. He had all these girls around me, and our star quarterback, his name was Joel Klatt. It's me, Joel, and another guy. We're at the bar, and some girl comes up to us and goes, "Oh yeah, Joel Klatt's over there." I'm like, what? They're like, Joel Klatt, our star quarterback. And I'm like, no, this is Joel Klatt. She's like, that guy over there saying he's Joel Klatt.
Perfect.
So my buddy Joel Klatt goes over to him, taps on his shoulder, goes, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's the actual star. And the guy, no shit, goes, "What's up, bro?" And he goes, "Oh, what's your name?" He goes, "Joel Klatt, starting quarterback for CU Buffs." And he goes, "Bro, I'm Joel Klatt." And the guy goes, "Ah, shit."
You know, me and my
but he
buddy.
didn't blow
See,
the
where's the
spot up.
iPhone camera for that? Like
Right.
that's,
Yeah,
Dude, when we were younger,
That's
me and
gold.
my buddy Jimmy, we used to pick up girls, pretending we were Navy SEALs. But we was such a
you're
goof.
one of those
It was a
guys.
goof, though. We'd just be like, she'd be
Yeah.
like, "What do you guys do?" We're like, "Well, we're special forces and we're in the SEAL teams." And this is way before, you know. She's like, "What?" And I remember telling this girl that she was like, she goes, "You ever seen any sharks?" I go, "We do, but I wear." I go, "We wear cones."
Oh
I
my
go,
God.
"We wear cones with huge
giving you a bad
flashlights,
name, bro.
With huge flashlights so we can see." And then I was telling how my buddy stabbed a fucking hammerhead in the gills, and we had these girls. I mean, an hour later, just banging the shit out of them. Like, thank you, Navy SEALs. I'm a fucking
for
imposter.
America.
Hey, I got laid, so fuck you guys.
I mean, the fact you're willing to admit that, I mean, more power to you.
I was in my 20s. It was so fun. I'm a patriot. I'm allowed to
I read a
fuck around.
stat that something like 95% of guys involved with the Navy SEALs, that 95% are divorce rate.
I don't know if it's that high. The military divorce rate is, compared to the national divorce rate, is higher.
Special Forces divorce rate's even higher.
I was
going to
get to that, yeah. So I mean, 95%. That's ridiculous. I mean, 9.5 people out of 10. I'd say I'd say probably 60% though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Still
rough.
high.
You're gone so much.
I did 4 years where 2 of the years I was gone over 270 days. 2 of the years I was gone over 300.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
So you're basically not here
And,
ever.
and then
And you were married at the time?
yeah, married.
Wow. Kids?
We had 2 kids during that time period.
Are you
Your
still
wife
married to the same
deserves
woman?
I
an
am.
award.
Yeah, I've been married for almost 15 years.
Dude.
Damn.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
a warrior.
yeah. I mean,
That's
she doesn't
impressive.
like me, but we're still
I was
married.
gonna say, yeah.
We live in separate houses, but we just
That's
make it work.
impressive. That takes a special kind of woman, by the way.
Yeah, you know, people don't understand the dynamics of military relationships. It's because even in that's just the deployment stuff that people think about, but the training we do is not done locally either. I mean, so you have to go on the road. I mean, you're not shooting belt-fed machine guns in Coronado.
Yeah.
No, you got to go out to the desert training facility. You're not practicing for the mountains in Temecula. You know, you got to go, to Alaska for, so not only are you gone on the deployment, you do about an 18-month at a conventional team, an 18-month workup where you got to train all your core competencies. And I'd say three quarters of that time is on the road too.
Dang.
It's I mean, if you don't have the right kind of person there behind you, it's impossible.
Good luck finding the right one, though. You got lucky, I feel like.
Yeah. No,
Here's my question to
100%.
you. I want to ask you. I love this stuff because you guys. First of all, you know a lot about how to stay warm, don't you?
Yes.
Okay.
I do not like being cold.
I fucking hate it. And I go and I hunt.
Yep.
Me and this guy Joe Rogan. I don't know if you know Joe Rogan, but
No.
he's the.
I
Doesn't matter.
heard he's kind of a sissy though.
He's a sissy.
Yeah.
No,
All right, good.
and we go hunting together, and I have a phobia of the cold, so I have my techniques. And my buddy was a Delta Force guy, so I asked him
Yeah.
about how to do it. He goes, just wear loose clothing, keep a warm
layers.
pocket of air,
Yeah,
and
layers.
layer up. And I always keep a warm thermos of fucking coffee on my belly.
Yep.
But
There you go.
if we're out in the fucking wilderness,
Yep.
what's the first order of business? Finding water?
I mean, as far as pure survival goes, yeah. I mean, you can go 30 days without food, but water's going to kill you first.
How do you find water?
Where you at,
That's an
bro?
open-ended question.
Jesus
Yeah,
All right.
Christ.
I drop you in not the desert, but like an area in the mountains, like with the temperature like
Sahara, Nevada?
California or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd pull out my iPhone and find the nearest 7-Eleven and then make my way there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for my friend. I'm sorry.
No, but I
These
love-
stupid-ass
I
questions.
love-
I'm so sorry.
I love the idea. So please give me a survival lesson. It's nighttime. Do you know how to make a fire?
Yeah. I mean, I carry a lighter with me.
God damn.
What if you
Navy
don't have a
SEAL,
lighter?
Brian.
Then I suck it up for at night and find a lighter the next day.
So
Like,
you don't rub two sticks
So
together.
here's the
That's
deal. Like,
fucking
I'm not a
impossible.
survival expert, and here's the thing. Like, so
You have
I
gear.
apologize, man.
You have gear. You have shit. You have a team.
There's a reason that I carry like a flint or like a lighter.
I love
this
it.
exact-
I love it.
yeah.
He's like, I carry a fucking lighter
Yeah,
Of course.
and a gun.
If
Of
only,
course.
If only there was a way to
This
carry
is
a portable
standard.
fire machine. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
right?
You're not Bear Grylls.
So here's the thing about Bear Grylls. Like, can you start a fire with the sticks like that? Totally. But what you miss in the smoke and mirrors of TV is the 6 hours they cut out between
Yes.
when they start doing the sticks
Yes, there's editing.
to when they actually get the fire started.
People should know this.
Totally. But
it's
they
a-
don't. They're like,
it's a
oh, I'm going to be
bitch.
good. I just go like this, right?
Yeah.
And
No, it's a beast.
Even survivalists always talk about how they're fucking hungry all the time, and it basically
No, it sucks.
It basically sucks.
Yeah.
Survival is, you need to add to that the assumption that it's going to suck. You know what I
Of
mean?
course,
You're
it's not going to be a walk in the
Unless
park.
you're surviving at the Four Seasons, it's going to suck.
Here's
Yeah.
here's a big question. When you guys were out in the middle of nowhere
Yep.
as a team, and you may not be allowed to answer this, but theoretically, hypothetically, did you hunt your own food and did you kill your own animals?
No, I carried my food with me.
Yeah, do you guys
Oh.
get...
I mean, think about how would you prepare the animal? Let's go to the baseline level. Like, so let's say you like.
So you see an oryx out there in the fucking steppes of Afghanistan. An oryx
Sure.
is a
So
deer. I don't even know if they have them there, but whatever.
Perhaps.
But
So-
for the story, it's an
So you
oryx.
shoot the thing, then you got to go get it.
Yeah.
Then you got to bring it back. Mind you,
Scan
you're
it.
probably at an altitude of 8,000 feet or above, so
Yeah.
carrying anything sucks.
Yeah. It's a lot of meat.
The shot itself would probably give away your position. You'd have to dress the animal. Then you'd have to
Use a
cook
silencer,
it somehow.
bro. Come on.
Yeah. So let's get out of the Hollywood realm.
Sorry.
So my favorite
I'm
gun.
embarrassed.
Shut up, man. Hey,
I'm embarrassed.
Shut up.
I'm sorry,
Shut
man.
up. Keep going.
embarrassed.
Hold
So
on.
my favorite gun is a suppressed 300 Win Mag. That thing is a
Shot a deer with a
it's a
300 Win Mag.
scalpel among scalpels.
Yep.
And I had a suppressor on mine, and it's still loud because you have.
is, wow.
Well, the round still goes supersonic.
Okay. So you're breaking
sti-
the speed barrier.
Correct. You can't use subsonic ammunition with a long gun like that. So it still makes a massive crack as it
Fuck,
goes
that's
by.
right.
So you're still So that's the difference, right, between movies and reality. Like they think if you put a suppressor on your gun, you're a ninja.
You're good.
But the bullet breaks the
round
sound
still
barrier.
goes supersonic, which gives away at least people know you're there or something's going on. So you'd have to shoot it. You'd have to go get it. Then it's like, well, how am I going to cook this thing? You're not going to eat raw meat. You're not going to light a fire in the field. So you're better off doing what we do is, you prepare enough food, whether it be the MREs, the stuff they give us, or a lot of guys go with jerky or just, stuff they bring from home, and you bring your own stuff, yeah.
You bring your own stuff.
I got a question for you. Definitely not like Callen's. But with the, I feel like you guys aren't taking care of post-tour. Like, financially, you guys should be set for the rest of your lives. The duties that you perform, especially the special forces.
Hazardous duty pay is not what I thought it was.
It's a couple $100. You get it while you're overseas, but you don't.
How about that?
Couple $100?
Yeah.
You get nothing. Dude.
Even now.
It's called the U.S.
No, you don't
government.
get anything. And the thing,
there's no nothing.
No. So.
Holy
Here's
insane.
Here's the rough thing too, and this has been brought up, and I think they talk about how they're going to try to change it. You could spend 20 years as a SEAL, right? And the thing, as far as pay wise goes, to start with, you don't join the military for the financial benefits.
True.
So you could be a SEAL for 20 years, or to use the Navy as an analogy, you could be a fleet sailor who had a completely different job description for 20 years. We get the exact same retirement. Because they pull all the special pays. So we get dive, demo, jump, hazardous duty, all that stuff. You get it while you're active, but none of that is calculated into your retirement. Yep. So you get the exact same retirement as somebody who could have had a completely different trajectory.
As a bugler in the fucking marching band.
That's fucking
insane. How about
insane,
that? As a bugler in the marching band.
That's insane.
That's what my buddy from Delta told me. I couldn't believe it.
So I'm sure a lot of guys get out and just like, what the fuck do I do, man? I've been 20 years.
A lot of the guys get out with that. They think the military retirement's going to float them, and a lot of the guys are so front sight focused on the task at hand.
You have to be.
That they don't put a lot of thought into what's going to happen after.
How can you?
You can't.
How can you? You're going to die.
Well, it's like fighters, Brennan, right? I mean, we talk about this all the time. A lot of fighters who they're 35, they come out, they can kick the shit out of people. They got a lot of injuries and stuff, but because they had to focus on fighting, on MMA so much, they come out with very few skill sets that are transferable necessarily. They have
kind of
discipline
like
and stuff.
SEALs too. I mean, like what is the guy going to do? Go be a cop? I mean, that's rough. The rules of engagement between a police officer and what we do.
A lot of paperwork, my man. A lot of paperwork.
There's more paperwork than you might think than what we do as well. But
oh wow,
what else are you going to do? Military contracting? Basically, turn one set of spurs in for another. Like the options are the direct options off ramping. They're few and far between.
They have to change that, man. That's insane.
I mean, that's a great concept, but the reality of changing that is
not happening. Nowhere near.
I mean, it's
least of the worries of the government.
Well, the biggest portion of the DoD budget is paying retirees.
Department of Defense.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So the argument is that if they do that, it would be a substantial bump to the budget that's already getting stretched thin.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's plenty of arguments for it. There's plenty of arguments against it. It is what it is.
You're also dealing with a group of people who are Spartans who want to push themselves in that arena, and it comes with a price.
But but that price shouldn't be. They're screwed once it's over.
You and I agree on that. I mean,
that's insane.
They're not screwed. I mean, they do. I mean, one of the biggest bankrupter of people in the U.S. right now is healthcare. Right. So you at least have you at least have healthcare for yourself and your family. Is it phenomenal? Not particularly, but is it healthcare? Yes, it is. You do get the retirement. You do have the educational benefits. So the opportunity is definitely there. Like,
you can go to school.
You guys should be set like professional athletes, high-level professional athletes.
It's just not going to happen. It's just not the nature of the beast.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's a bummer.
I think what Brennan's saying is that when you're tip of the spear and you do all this insane stuff, and you pay a price physically for it, and
protect
all that.
America.
Yeah, I mean, everybody plays their part in doing that, but I think that, but it's true that I think there's a natural sort of feeling among us civilians that the guys who really are doing this crazy work that we all are fascinated by should get a little more, man.
Compensate for the rest of their lives because you have a special skill set that. How many hours of money did they put into?
Completely no longer applicable.
But that shouldn't matter. That shouldn't matter.
Besides for rough love making, huh?
Detailed love.
I don't even know.
I don't know.
Detailed love making.
Detailed.
Yeah, I like that you piggybacked on that. Detailed love making. And we just hold his gaze for a long time.
Just stare at him. You're amazing, man. I'm glad you came on.
I'm glad you guys.
Our fans
have
are
me, man.
support you like crazy. You're gonna be overwhelmed with the support you get. You're gonna be surprised.
That's the biggest thing, like I'm pretty good at utilizing gravity to get me through the day and doing activities that I enjoy, but I'm a rank amateur at best on trying to figure out a way to grasp people's attention, and then
that's where we come in, my man.
So
that's where we come in.
That's why you're here.
I can't shoot a gun. I can't survive a day without water, but I'm pretty good at marketing.
You're with the fighter and the kid now. Call us Daddy 1 and Daddy 2.
Perfect.
There.
Perfect.
What do you think? When your body is no longer able to do all this crazy stuff? What do you think you want to do in like when you're my age?
I don't know.
You and Callen look like a before and after picture of an aging clinic.
Like I need more water in my face. I'm him if you took all the water out.
I don't know. I definitely
He looks young as fuck.
I am. I'm like emotionally, like I said, I'm probably 9 or 10. So maybe. But
it
I'm
is
just
weird that
wearing
you do look that young after going through 17 years of insanity.
Like he looks younger than I do.
Yeah, it's good for your
You
skin.
gotta take care of yourself, man.
Yeah.
You gotta take care of yourself. What would I do? It's an interesting question because I don't think I really know. I mean, right now I'm fortunate that I'm getting to travel the world, skydive and base jump, and then I do a lot of. I actually work for a military training company. We work with other military units, and I teach them free fall type stuff. So I'm able to pursue my passions. Having said that, there's an egg timer on that, and I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Well,
maybe MMA fighting or stand-up comedy. I'm not sure.
Let me know, man. Because you got.
We'll grease the path, brother. We'll grease the path. It's awesome.
Tell them where they can donate. Tell them where they can find you.
You can donate, like I said, if you want to just go to GoFundMe.com and put in Man on a Mission. It'll show up one of the first two options. The SEAL Foundation, the Navy SEAL Foundation is who I'm trying to raise money for. So if you abbreviate that, NSF, GoFundMe.com/NSF, Man on a Mission. And if you want to follow my wild adventures, you can just check me out on the Instagram. It's
Andy,
a really
Andy,
tough
it's important.
What's your Instagram?
Andy Stumpf. With an F, like go fuck yourself, 212.
Boom.
Andy Stumpf. It's important though, in closing, that a lot of people figure that if you're a Navy SEAL and you're wounded and stuff, that you're taken care of, and so why give money because the government's going to help them anyway.
Yep.
Wrong.
So can you explain what
SEAL Found? So there are.
You guys provide everything.
There are mechanisms in place to help guys when they get out. So all service members have the chance to get the life insurance that comes with military service. It might have changed a little bit, and I'm not 100% positive on this, but I think it's a $425,000 to $450,000 policy. That goes to whoever your beneficiary is if you die. And when the war first kicked off, I think people were basically getting a check, and they're like, hey, let us know if you need anything, and then they moved on to go back and fight the war. And there's so much other stuff that people need besides just the money. And the Navy SEAL Foundation is an amazing thing. Like, I highly recommend people go to NavySealFoundation.org and just check out the variety of programs. I mean, they do stuff, even guys who are active duty, like guys like me.
And this is privately funded, by the way, right?
It's 100% funded by Americans who want to get back and
help. It's not a government program
at all.
It is privately funded. So this is the Navy. You guys provide daycare. You provide. You're with the families.
It's crazy. Educational benefits. They'll do.
And they're needed. See, I just want to emphasize the point that a lot of people think the U.S. government's going to take care of all that stuff.
No.
But there are hidden costs that people don't realize. Like
we're talking childcare. So Jason's widow has 24 hours per month of childcare provided. Her children get laptops every 3 years. Private school benefits. They'll get all of the Gold Star children together and do like grieving camps and counseling camps. And they sent her oldest son to go scuba diving. They're taking everybody to Hawaii. They help guys on active duty too. Like when I got medically retired, they take away your special pays while you go on the medical hold status. And people are people. They live to their means. And even if we're talking like $1,500 a month, that'll crush a family. And I know more than one guy. That's one of the things the SEAL Foundation does is they'll cover that gap between what the military is taking from your pay, and they'll make you whole again. I mean, they'll be there at the knock of notification. They'll be there to help you get family out there, to help plan the funeral, to, grieving support, tax support, help with the money that they're going to get you from the military. Because if you give me $450,000, I'm buying a Porsche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're giving people money. They're giving people money in an environment where they're super emotional. They're probably not thinking rationally, where they need help. And all of these services are provided, and the biggest thing I can say is that the whole time I was active duty until this day, and people find out what I used to do, and the most common thing they'll say is, thank you for your service. And when I was in, they would say, is there anything that I can do to help? And I had no answer for them. And now I kind of do. I can say, hey, if you're one of those people that wants to help, this is an avenue where you could. There's so many avenues out there. This is one that means something to me. and something to a community of people that lives with their toes on the line.
And it's guaranteed to help.
100%.
Yeah.
Guaranteed
And
to help.
Andy Banff is actually raising awareness by putting on a squirrel suit and flying through the air. And we can't really talk about
setting some
what
records.
Going for it. Attempting
he's
to set
he's
some
going
records.
for some records called world records, and we can't talk much more about that. But I caught a little peek
Coming to
down
a
the rabbit
theater
hole.
near you soon.
It's
Yeah.
amazing, man. One last time,
badass.
what's the website they can donate, and then we'll get you out of here?
GoFundMe.com, enter in there, Man on a Mission, or GoFundMe.com/NSF, Man on a Mission. That'll take you directly to the page.
Andy Banff, thank
Boom,
you for
Fire
your
and Kid
service.
Army. Get on it. Thank you, brother. Appreciate
thanks
it.
for having me, guys.
This
Appreciate
is the Fire and the Kid. We're out.